Hello. If you are a Canadian Football League fan, in case you have not heard, on May 12th, which is almost 2 weeks ago now, as of this video, all 9 CFL teams have unveiled new uniforms. Now, the thing is that since they've been redone with Adidas as the new uniform manufacturer for the CFL, since Adidas already owns Reebok, the truth is the amount of jersey changes you're going to see are pretty small. Not a whole lot of changes have happened this time around compared to 4 years ago. I mean, don't get me wrong, there were some changes made, but you're going to notice that not a whole lot has changed, and the updates and changes are very minimal. Now, there's 3 things that you're going to notice in this video and also my second video, because I've decided to split the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference videos into 2 videos so that they're not one super long video. So for this video, I'm going to be talking about all of the Eastern Conference uniforms, and in my next video I'll talk about the Western Conference uniforms. So as I was saying, there's 3 things you're going to notice. The first thing is that some of these teams no longer have numbers on their shoulders. The second thing you're going to notice is that not a whole lot of changes there weren't a whole lot of significant changes. And the third thing that I think you guys will notice out of all of this is that when some of these teams, specifically the Red Blacks and Argonauts, they took all this time. The Argonauts had multiple players, but neither team bothered to model their new road jersey, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Oh, and there's one other thing that you're going to notice after this video and my second video. And it's that a lot of teams have gone with a templated look, which it's kind of the same design, just rearranged. And I'm a little bit disappointed by that, but I think you guys will notice that a lot of the changes were for the better. But before I get to any of the teams that made changes, let's talk about the Montreal Alouettes. Because besides the new Canadian Football League logo on the collar right there, the Alouettes have actually changed absolutely nothing. And to be honest, I have a lot of respect for Montreal doing that. I mean, I'm going to be honest, I think it's really nice to hear that one team has decided to keep their look the same. Because I've been starting to get a little bit tired of teams constantly changing their uniforms. It's nice to have some consistency. But as I say that though, I am disappointed myself. And I find that this uniform here is a little too busy. And I do not like the word mark above the number. I just do not like it. And I think the uniform's good, but I do think that it should be cleaned up a little bit. I mean, I don't hate the logo, but I do agree with people that it could get a facelift. Now let's also look at the road uniform. As you can see, it has the word mark. It has a blue shoulder yoke and red on the numbers, or pardon me, the arms, and blue on the arms here. You know, I kind of think Montreal would look really nice if they were primarily royal blue, just like their 1970s throwbacks, but even if they took the blue off the shoulders, I think their uniforms would be a lot cleaner. See, that's why I was actually a big fan of this old Montreal Alouettes third jersey. I thought it was a very clean look. However, as much as I really liked the black, silver, and blue, there's one thing about Montreal teams. You really cannot go wrong with red and blue. And rightfully so. And you know what? When it comes to the Alouettes, I think they should definitely stick with the red and the blue. I just think that they need to make a few touch-ups and clean the overall uniform up a bit. But that's just me. But anyways, I'm going to move on to a team that actually did make a change. And just a heads up, the change that this team has made is very, very, very minor. And that team is the Hamilton Tiger Cats. So, these uniforms are pretty much staying the same. The only change is that the collar is no longer yellow on the black jersey, which makes no sense to me. And also, the word marks are quite a bit bigger, which I think is a bit of a downgrade. And also, you see how there's the yellow pants? For the most part, they're going to be sticking to all black next year. So no gold pants. However, I have seen a picture with a player modeling the new uniform with gold pants. So they will have them, they just won't be the primary look, which I think is a crying shame. And also, the Tiger Cats have now got enlarged numbers on the back of their helmets, which I think is a little bit unnecessary. So the oversized numbers on the back of the helmets is a real disappointment. I think it doesn't look very good. And extra and bigger word marks above the numbers, I'm not a fan of that. And the loss of the gold on the home jersey's collar, I think that's a shame. With that, I've managed to get a picture of Hamilton's new uniform being modeled with the gold pants. But, I mean, they said that they wanted a modern take on tradition with this new uniform you see here, but my question is why? Why mess with something that doesn't need to be messed with? I mean, their last look was perfect. I mean, I'm not saying that this one's bad. It's just that they took some of the little details away from it that made it perfect, like the gold collar and the stripes along the sides of the pants. I mean, why? It's just a case of change for change's sake. I mean, it was completely unnecessary. And I'm a little bit disappointed. And honestly, if I was calling the shots, all I would have done is add a gold stripe along Hamilton's helmet. That's it. But overall, I'm just glad that these haven't been changed too much. Moving on. So, this was the Ottawa Red Blacks uniforms when they first entered the Canadian Football League. So, if you can look at the black jersey, it's all black with red numbers. And their road jersey is white with black side panels and arms, with a white helmet. And the white jersey is a stormtrooper-like, and the Red Blacks had an all-black uniform. See, the good thing about this was that it gave them enough to stand out from the stamps. But let's look at their new uniforms. So with that, here is the Red Blacks' new home uniform. Now, first off, notice that there is a humongous difference in the amount of red that is now on their home uniforms now, compared to their last uniform. And also, notice the white numbers that are now there instead of the red numbers. According to the rumors, I've heard a lot of fans, commentators, players, and coaches complained because when the players were on the field, a lot of times it was very difficult to tell the players apart, which is why. So I get the white numbers. And personally, I do like the white numbers better. But does anybody else notice a similarity that the Red Blacks now have to the Senators in the NHL for you hockey fans out there? I mean, when the Ottawa Senators first entered the NHL, they also started out with red numbers and an all-black uniform. And a few years into their time in the NHL back in the late 90s, they switched to white numbers as well. I mean, is that a coincidence? I don't know. But it's kind of interesting nevertheless. And also, I got to talk about this hashtag on the sides of the pants because I think this is ridiculous. And for the Red Blacks, it now says hashtag our nation. I mean, that's a nice pun, but seriously, keep your hashtags off the uniforms. Keep them on social media and the internet only. Please and thank you. I think a hashtag on a uniform, that's ridiculous. I mean, if you decide to put a hashtag and use that on the inside of your collar as a hanger effect, I still think that's something you shouldn't do, but I'd rather see that than a hashtag front and center on the sides of your pants. Are you kidding me? That's ridiculous. So also note that there is a lot more red on the Red Blacks home uniform now, but I'm going to get back to that in just a little bit. Now here's a look at Ottawa's new road uniform. Compared to their last one that had black side panels and black arms, I think this is a much, much better look. And as far as I'm concerned, it's quite an upgrade in my opinion. But also note that it now says Ottawa above the numbers on their road uniform instead of Red Blacks like it did before. Whether we still see the white helmet or not, that's still yet to be seen because nobody bothered to have a player model their new road uniform, which I think is a real disappointment. But also notice the Red Blacks' new home uniform on a person. I mean, you can see the white number. I think it's going to be a lot better for the players on the field. I think it'll look a lot better in the games because you'll actually be able to tell the players apart. But there's a huge problem I have with the Red Blacks' new home uniform now because of the white numbers and the red cuffs on the arms. Now, also, here's a much better shot of their new home uniform. A much better photo anyways. Also note the hashtag Our Nation is now inside the collars of both of their new jerseys. I mean, that's, in my opinion, that's the only place that should ever be on a uniform. And definitely not on the sides of the pants or anywhere on the exterior of the uniform. But you see, I mean, the white numbers do look better. But here's the problem that I have. There's two problems. In a 9-team league like the CFL, where you're one of 2 teams out of that 9-team league that share the red and black color scheme, you gotta do something that actually allows you to stand out. And also look at the red arms on the ends of the arms and the white numbers and that jersey. And take a look at the Stampeders' 3rd jersey. Black helmet, all black uniform, white numbers, red cuffs on the arms. See what I'm getting at? These guys now look way too much like the Calgary Stampeders. And that's why I honestly strongly prefer their old home uniform over their new one. Because with the little hints of red on the sides of the uniform and the red numbers, you could actually tell these guys apart from the Stampeders. They had their own identity, even though they share the same color scheme. And that's why I would honestly argue that their new home uniform is a huge downgrade. And when a team like this has been pushing the whole lumberjack themes, especially with their signature jersey that had the plaid on the red uniform, I think this was a real missed opportunity to not only put some plaid on the uniform, but to truly have their own identity for the first time. And I think it's a real shame. And also, since I have been unable to, as of this video, to find any pictures of any players modeling their new road uniform, I've made a mock-up. So as you can see here, a black number with red trim and Ottawa above it, and the arms with black and red on them instead of the all black arms and side panels. I think this is a huge upgrade. And if I was the one calling the shots with their uniforms, I would have left their old home uniform alone. I would not have changed it. And I would have just made this new road uniform. Or, better yet, the Red Blacks would have used a little bit of plaid so that they could actually be noticeably unique compared to the Stampeders. I mean, I'm sorry, but when you're in a 9-team league like the CFL, and you share the same color scheme with the Calgary Stampeders, and now have a home uniform that's way too similar, almost the exact same as the Stampeders' third jersey. I'm sorry, but you gotta do way more to stand out. And I think this is, in my opinion, that's why I would honestly tell you viewers out there that I think that their new home uniform is a major downgrade. I mean, I think it's very disappointing, and they should have either put some plaid on or just left the uniform alone. I mean, I get the fans and a lot of people wanting the white numbers. I think they look better. But when you're trying to establish your own identity in a 9-team league while sharing the same color scheme as another team, I mean, that's why I strongly prefer their old home uniform. Because with red numbers and an all-black uniform with just a little bit of red, at least you could tell these guys apart from the Stampeders, no problem. Whereas now, when you're not seeing the side panels, in a lot of cases, which will be the case a lot of times when you see the Red Blacks on TV this season, I mean, you can definitely see where I'm coming from as to why I think the Red Blacks made a serious mistake. I mean, do they not realize that they now look almost exactly the same as the Stamps? I mean, give me a break. Who approved this? I mean, seriously, I'd like to have a chat with them. Because this is, I mean, really? I mean, look at this one more time and compare it to the Stamps' third jersey. Way too similar. But as for their road jersey, I think it's a huge upgrade. Anyways, moving on to the Argonauts. So now, finally, let's move on to the Argos. So these have been their uniforms for the past few years. I mean, just like Hamilton, these jerseys are perfect. They should not be changing too much. Except it would be nice if they lost the logo above the nameplate. Which, good news, they did. So anyways, here's their new home jersey. So I know it's a bit tough to see from here, but the only differences between this and their uniform last year is that the numbers now have a powdered blue outline, or as the Argonauts would call it, Cambridge blue. I think that was a really, really, really good idea. It looks a lot better. And also, Toronto's got a new word mark above the numbers, which I think actually is an upgrade. So, in my opinion, they already took a great jersey and made it even a little bit better. It's perfect now, and I seriously hope that they never touch it again. Honestly, I'm not kidding when I say that. But instead of a signature jersey, they need to just make a Cambridge blue version of this as a third jersey. That would be amazing. But there's one little thing that I do not like about this uniform. Notice the striping on the pants, how it's cut off right there. Right there. Why? Why do you have to cut that off? I mean, seriously. I mean, it's still a great uniform nonetheless. But come on. Why cut the striping off? That makes no sense. Anyways, just like the Red Blacks and just like the Tiger Cats, which I have yet to see anyone model their new road jersey, because I did see Zach Caleros, their quarterback, modeling the new home jersey, or slightly updated Ticats home jersey. We've also seen someone model the Red Blacks' new home uniform, and we've also got a picture here of someone modeling the Argonauts' new home uniform. But they had players like Ricky Foley there But why couldn't they have just gotten one of them to model their new road jersey? So I've got some good news and I've got some bad news. The bad news is nobody bothered to model it, but the good news is I've made a mock-up. So here you go. I honestly, with the powder blue numbers, I think this will look fantastic on the field. I really do. Actually, there's one thing I want to see. Okay, the color's not different. I thought it was. So notice the new word mark and powder blue trimmed numbers, or Cambridge blue numbers. But notice something about the replica jersey. The stripes are cut off right there. Like Adidas. Why couldn't you guys have just made the stripes go all the way around? Like, I understand the players wanting them cut off so that it's easier to put the uniform on and so that it's more form-fitting. But why cut the stripes off on a fan replica? I mean, that makes no sense to me. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. And I hate it when Nike does that with the international hockey jerseys. I hate that. And I just wish they'd just make the stripes go around. Like, why? Why? It baffles me. But, I mean, look at this uniform here. I mean, I think that Toronto may just have the best uniforms in the CFL now. I mean, they already had great uniforms. I'm just saying that, you know, I love the double blue. You really cannot complain. I just wish they would make a Cambridge blue version of these two uniforms, pardon me. And as for the Ticats, I mean, they still look great, but they ditched the striping on their pants. And for the most part, they're going to be wearing black pants. Like, guys, come on, wear the gold. The black and gold is much better than all black. I mean, Ottawa is doing that. And same with Calgary. Why do you have to do that too? I mean, come on, be a little bit unique. It's okay. Plus, it looks 10 times better. Anyways, with that, this is the end of the first part of my 2-part video series covering the new uniforms. So overall, Toronto's got an upgrade, in my opinion. Ottawa, their road jersey is a definite upgrade. I think it looks a lot cleaner. And as for their home jersey, I do think it looks good. But I still prefer their old one because it was more unique compared to the Calgary Stampeders. I mean, this jersey here looks a lot like this jersey here. And that's why I honestly prefer their original all-black jersey with red numbers. But still, I wish that they would have, if they were going to add more red, I wish they would have incorporated the plaid, because that would have actually given these guys a true identity. So I'm a little bit disappointed. But see what I mean about the road jersey? Hell of a lot cleaner. As for the Ticats, they're a little bit of a downgrade for me. But their uniforms are still fantastic. And thank you, Hamilton, for not doing too much. I mean, I'd rather have a few little minor changes than a drastic overhaul when it's completely unnecessary. And when your uniforms are as nice as these. I mean, seriously, the only thing I wish they would do is put the gold back around the collar, ditch the oversized numbers on the back of the helmets, and own the gold pants at home. Seriously, guys, come on. Not every team should be wearing all black. Give me a break. And as for Montreal, I really don't mind that they've kept it the same. I do respect it, but I do think that they need to make a few changes. I mean, I hate these oversized word marks over the numbers, and I do think they are a little bit clunky and could be cleaned up a bit. And in my opinion, I do think they would be smart to have a little bit of a facelift to their identity. Anyways, that's it for the first part of my 2-part video series covering the CFL's new Adidas uniforms for 2016. And until I make the second part of this series, take care, and as I always say, and probably sound like a broken record by now, bye for now, and take care, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video.